I'm Max, and I think that Lord of the Rings would be hilarious if Legolas was a house elf.
My name's Aylia, and I think Harry Potter would be awesome if Dobby was a Sindar elf of the Woodland Realm.
My name's Ellie, and I think it would be awesome if the elves of Harry Potter all wanted to be dentists like Hermie.
And welcome to Granger Things!
Where we talk about Harry Potter
Things
with a Hermione
Granger
level of detail.
Today we're going to be talking about house elves. They're adorable, they've got very similar names, and they do everybody's dirty work.
Yeah, they're slaves.
Yes, they're literally slaves.
We're gonna get right into it. They're constantly cleaning the castle. Like, Filch is not the one who's going into the common room and cleaning up after the kids.
Right.
Filch is the one who's monitoring the hallways during class, so the house elves are like neither seen nor heard.
Mm-hmm. Ron's attitude, he's so complacent when it comes to the attitude towards house elves, which shows a lot of the problematic bias that pureblood wizards have.
You see that with Sirius also. You see it with Hagrid even. When you see Creature who has been abused consistently by members of the Order, by Sirius certainly, and you see Creature, you watch him go through this incredible transformation, subsequently then get abandoned. If they are that capable of change, do you really not believe that with some work you could get them all to be as excited about being free as Dobby?
Yeah, that's problematic.
Because it's like, the excuse that you hear in the book all the time is like, they like it.
You're assigning attribute to the entire
species.
Thank you. I was trying to look for it.
Right.
Just because that's how it's been isn't how it should be or could be.
Right.
And it's problematic both ways. Because look at Winky. Poor little Winky probably liked what she was doing and turns her into an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. Let's also talk about the fact that elves have their own magic. Blacks in the slave class were literally bred to be better so that we can work harder under worse conditions. Now, after evolving through forced breeding, there's fear of that power.
Right.
And I think that
becomes a threat.
as soon as it becomes a threat to privilege.
Yeah.
And I think the same can be said about the house elves.
You see that with goblins, with wizards not sharing wand lore.
Mm-hmm.
You see that with centaurs. You see that with mer people. Wizards and witches have this really dangerous way of looking at any other magical creature and seeing it as other or less than.
House elves can literally apparate inside Hogwarts, which is unheard of. Which, on that line, they had just heard that whole horrible story from Creature just a few weeks before they broke into the Ministry.
Yeah.
And even though they didn't make it into Grimmauld Place, they brought Yaxley there with them. Creature was able to transport out of where the Horcrux was being hidden. They knew that they could have just said Creature, and he easily probably could have come back, even if Yaxley was holding his hand. Elf magic is clearly outside the lines of what wizards could imagine.
And instead they're keeping him in the kitchen, having him make food when he's got all this incredible power. We were talking about this earlier also, that goblins and house elves might have evolved from the same thing.
Right.
Kind of like dogs and wolves, and then house elves ended up becoming the ones who
were tamed.
The domesticated ones,
and domesticated and like what you were saying, bred to be enslaved.
I really enjoy that sort of headcanon. It's done. Tell JK.
Yeah.
Please. Tell her to watch.
Joe, it's Max on the fan phone.
Like wolves, goblins maintain their own power. And it's still in a very stratified place.
Why did they think that they could not tell him that they just needed to use the sword a few times before they could give it back to him?
Yeah.
Without saying, okay, so there's these Horcruxes, this piece of Voldemort's soul, we need to destroy him so we can kill him.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't have to give away the whole plan by saying, can we use it before we give it to you?
It's withholding of information.
It's hard because I want to be on Hermione's side with the awful anagram, and I can't even remember.
Spew.
Awful. There's other words.
The name of the chapter is House Elf Liberation Front, so just call it Health.
Ooh!
Right.
Literally in German, to help, the verb is helfen.
Aww.
She did a lot, but she could have done more to make it.
If I may.
Please.
She did not communicate with Dobby, who would have been a fierce advocate for house elf rights.
Thank you so much. That's what I was trying to get at. There was no allies in the actual fight. She's Muggle-born. She's a Muggle-born witch who is now trying to speak on behalf of their slave class.
Right.
You're not going to get the Malfoys on your side that way.
It seems like the pendulum of right, of justice in the wizarding world moves very slowly. Like, they're only just now trying to fight for werewolf rights. They're still fighting for Muggle-born rights.
Yeah. Right.
It's that same thing that sort of happened most recently in America, where everyone was surprised by a certain outcome of an election, but If you ask other certain people,
No skirting around the bush. I think white people were surprised, and black people were like, this is the hell we've been living in.
Yes. You ask us. We've been thinking about this for a while.
Right.
Same thing with the elves. Same thing with the goblins. Same thing with the centaurs. And you know what? I'd like to say that although Dumbledore is not very good at some of this, he does try to expand the people's minds around him, albeit slowly. I think he does take that more measured approach when he hires people like Lupin and as did DeFrenzy and absolutely.
We're getting so real with this one.
Yeah.
This one hurts.
So do we want to bum ourselves or our audience out anymore by talking about slaves? And now it's time for our segment,
Maybe Magical, where we pick a celebrity in modern day who might be magical.
Lady Gaga?
This has been Maybe Magical. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching.
Don't forget to subscribe.
And as always,
In JK we roll.
I went to her school.
She's a teacher?
No.
I'm just kidding. I don't have a degree. I'm a Hufflepuff.